did an unbelievable job getting, as many guys ready today as we could. So, it's next man up. And I thought we had some guys really, the encouraging thing is I thought we had some guys really step up in battle. Hopefully none of this stuff is right long term, and we can get everybody back and have a practice and get ready for the next one.
I guess where you really needed a little extra help was scoring, and you just didn't really get it. Bruce had the big day, Kristoff got his 10, but you needed another guy to get 15 or something, right? I mean, what did you see how that wasn't able to happen?
Well, I think our free throws, we didn't shoot well enough from the free throw line, and we struggled from three. I thought we had some great looks, had some really good looks, and our guys work hard. We do player development all year long, and guys have been working hard in the gym to stay ready. And ball just didn't go in for us from the three-point line like we're capable of tonight. And those kind of empty possessions, eventually I think were the difference in the game.
Coach, the fan base wants a win, big win, but you couldn't get the win today. Other than not being in the win column, what can you take from fighting it out with a Michigan State team tonight?
Yeah, I think the culture and, foundation of our programs stood firm today. We battled with great toughness. We played together. We were connected, and we handled, adversity for the most part really well. But the thing I told our guys, we coach in truth here, and the truth is we battled really hard. We played tough, and we played, we helped each other throughout the course of the game, but the truth is we also didn't execute at the level, at times in the second half that we did in the first half. So those are the things that we got to own and continue to improve on. But I'm proud of the way this team fought and battled, and guys stepped up. Thank you.
Jake, Bruce had 32 of your 60, no turnovers in 40 minutes. He make his case today to be first team all Big Ten, and did you make your case to be an NCAA tournament team?
Listen, I think yes. Bruce is one of the best guards in the country. And, the way he's guarded with the physicality, he could probably shoot 10 to 12 free throws a game. And, he plays the game the right way. He doesn't try to trick anybody. He just plays with great poise. And I thought his toughness today, when we knew we were missing firepower offensively, certainly, and he rose and stepped up. So thought that was great. And against, an elite defense, elite defensive guard, right, all of that stuff. And I think it says a lot about who he is, and I think our response as a team today says a lot about who we are. And certainly he leads the way for that. But, this is a big-time team, and we stepped up. We raised our level. We played, tough and fought the whole game. I think it does say something about who we are. And, we're fighting every literally hour to get back to full strength. And we're hopeful that's going to be the case soon. And I think that'll help us, too, down the stretch.
Jake, you mentioned about the job that Bruce did defensively in this game. I'm wondering about, particularly on Fears in the first half, and then what maybe changed in the second half for you guys defensively? It looked like maybe Cooper and him and Fears kind of got a little bit more going there.
Yeah, really good player. And he's impactful on both sides of the ball, the usage rate, and I think what he does for them offensively, even when he's not scoring, is big time. So, they made some adjustments that I thought helped him get the ball into the paint better against our defensive scheme. And, when we tried to counter that, we just didn't execute as consistently as you need to against a really good player. And then, Cooper, was his efficiency was big time, and he stepped up for him in a big way. So those two guys, yeah, they were really good. I thought we, did a good job impacting Fear's ability offensively in the first half. But like good players do, they respond, and he certainly did that in the second half.
Coach here in the middle, wondering about the defense between the blocks for you guys, specifically on the forward play, especially with the injuries you guys have been battling. What did you think of your guys' forward play defensively today, especially in that first half against MSU? And what was that game plan like a little bit?
Yeah, great fight. Great fight. They do a really good job catching the ball deep and close to the basket, and I thought in the first half we prevented that from happening. They got a couple deep touches there in the second half, a couple more. We were mixing up coverage against them, single coverage, double team, and I think it's a battle. We got in some foul trouble which, impacted us. We had to go smaller a little bit. But I'm proud of the way our guys battled inside against, we're a physical team. They're a physical team. And I thought the game, like there was good physicality, on the interior from both sides.
Jake, what did it take as the second half was going on and they were getting to the glass the way that they were, and you're running out of bodies and you're talking about foul trouble? What did it take to try to combat that physicality and play the way that you were able to play with force in the first half?
Yeah, I think we knew, right, rebounding was going to be a huge key to the game. Thought we did a good job in the first half. Second half, there were a couple times where, we had a good initial hit, but one of the things that they do really well is they keep moving. And we had a couple guys hit once and kind of stand and watch, and they made us pay for that. That was a huge part of the game plan, and that's part of our execution in the second half, where it just wasn't at the level, we needed it to be to get the win today. Pretty good for majority of the game, but, they, like I can remember Scott had a big one, kind of circling around the bat. Like those possessions, some kick-out stuff where they either got to the free throw line after or made a shot. Those when you're battling and like that stuff can be a dagger. So it's been an area of emphasis for us for some time. I think Devin's a really good rebounder, and certainly missed him out there today in that regard with the type of game that it was going to be. But I thought Tilly stepped up in a big way for us on the glass. It's something we've been challenging him with, and for him to have 8 defensive rebounds was really good. Tayson had a couple, Bruce had a couple, Colin I thought came in, battled on the glass. So there's some positives there for stretches of the game, but we got to execute that all the way through the clock.
And Devin obviously shot very well from 3 in his last time out. The way that your shots weren't falling from the perimeter, but some of the strengths of his game, if you'd had him today, what difference would that have made, you guys trying to get the ball inside and trying to score against the heart of their defense?
Well, it's been an element of our scoring, and we had some stretches there where we struggled to score the ball. You got to certainly credit Michigan State's defense. I don't want to discredit what they do defensively. Good defensive team, but I think for us, it took away one of our paint touch threats. But again, I thought we manufactured some good looks that we make a few of those or 2 of those. It's the last 3-4 minutes feels different and puts us in a different position. So even that being said, a couple more free throws, like it's just we couldn't afford to kind of have some of those empty possessions offensively against a really good defensive team, and certainly being out a couple guys was impactful.
Play a lot, all that man you played, and a lot of the switching the bigs onto Fears in the first half. Tell me about that strategy and what you were hoping to accomplish.
Yeah, we felt like, if we could create and kind of level the ball, it was important, even if that meant having to switch. Now, certainly when you do that right now, there's rebounding aspect to that, but that's where I thought our guys really battled well in the first half, and we were able to level the ball and not let it get to the rim. He had a couple shots, in the middle of the paint, because he's a good player, and he adjusted. And I thought they went to some handoff action that allowed them to try to turn the corner. We didn't execute that part as well as we should.
Today, a continuation of the defense you've been liking here the last couple or 3 games, and did you just run out of gas maybe too in the second half?
I don't know. We work really hard, and we prepare to handle adversity well. I thought our team handled it really well. We had some guys play a lot of minutes. Some guys play some minutes they're not used to playing, but there's no excuse. There were some great things we did, and we put ourselves in position there. We lacked a little bit of execution. That's our focus. It's not fatigue. It's not injury. It's not things like that. Our focus is, the things that we could do a little bit better executing down the stretch, or kind of in that middle to late part of the second half. Like, we got to own that. Also, while acknowledging, I think, the toughness we showed, and that's what we're taking from this, coming out of this game.
And do you feel like it's a continuation playing defense? The way you have in the communication and all the stuff you've been talking about.
Yeah, I think we've shown improvement in that area now for a few games, and that carried over today. I agree with that. I think we executed longer, better, but it just wasn't long enough. Today when we were struggling to score there for a stretch. But big time response when they went up 10. Thought That was really, really good by our guys. And, we just can't allow ourselves to get in that situation on the road, in this big time environment against a really good team. But kept battling, we stayed with it, and that was a good thing for us. All right. Thanks, guys.
They were 4 for 22, 10 for 17, and they go 6 for 20, 12 for 17. You mean with Kohler's spot? Yeah. Well, who else was in foul trouble, Fierce? No. He got the third one on the technical. He played 35 minutes. So. The other thing was he was going small a little bit more because. Really bad game. The judge used to say, they don't grade them, they just count them. Same time you should see that. Yours was at the line at the time. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe in practice. Probably. Not often. It's got to be further. Hey, out here, couldn't win it. Now, he should shoot more. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm just winning also. But still, I'm not making it.
Hey, thought my guys played great. We did a good job. Players did everything right. And, I think Ohio State just played better than we did, but we sure didn't do anything wrong because then you'll write it, I'll get fired, and I don't want to do that either. But I was really disappointed in our team. Really disappointed. I thought we started off the game. I told Robbie Hummel before the game, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is unforced turnovers. We had 4 of them before the game started. We had 1 in the first 10 seconds. It's ridiculous. And so I can't sugarcoat that. But everybody tells me at this point in my career, less said, the better. So I want to make sure I give all the credit to Ohio State. They did do a good job. I talked to Thornton before the game, told him it's been an honor and a privilege to coach against him for 4 years. I said, you stayed put. You didn't run and leave like everybody does nowadays. You've been an incredible player. You've been an incredible person. I'm a big fan, and I told him even more after the game. So they did a better job than we did. We had 3 of the greatest practices that I've had since I've been here. I told a couple of you that. And we did not bring it today. And they did, and he did single-handedly almost beat us. So give him credit. We couldn't guard him with a fishnet. I probably put a freshman on him that did maybe as good a job, but it wasn't one guy. It was our coverages, and some guys just didn't cover like we're supposed to cover. So questions, that way I don't get in trouble.
Tom, I'm wondering about when you have a game like this and there's so many different things that happen early on in terms of Cooper or Carson or Jackson getting those early fouls and them having guys out. How much coming into this prep-wise changed in those maybe first couple minutes of the game?
In the prep of it?
In terms of just what you were preparing for and them having...
Zero changed. I mean, the only guy, and it creates good and bad, but when Johnson started instead of Royal's more physical inside. Johnson's probably a better shooter from the outside. But the whole game plan was to keep Thornton out of the paint, out of the right elbow, and it just didn't happen. So we worked on it. We put stuff on the floor. We did this and that. We just didn't guard it very good. So, and he played really well. Give him credit.
Tom was wondering about Carson. I think we had 14 and 7 after the break. Pretty efficient night for him. Just what you saw from seniors. Obviously developed a lot and picked up a lot of slack for you guys offensively down the stretch.
What was the last part of that?
Just Cooper picking up the slack offensively down the stretch. 14 and 7, I think, in the second half.
I'm glad you said offensively, because that was part of the problems. We have a unique thing in basketball. We play both ends. We're not a football team that can just play defense, and then we're not one that can just play offense. In basketball, you have to play offense and you have to play defense. And there's no question that last year Coop was one of my best defenders. I think one of the best defending big men. We struggled with that a little bit offensively. He did some good things and made some shots and free throws. Happy for him on that. But we got to get more out of people than we got, or we're not going to be good enough.
Tom, talking about that Friday practice, he talked to us about improving communication, and of course, that first few seconds of the game, there was a miscommunication, but towards the end of the game, or just total, was their communication trending in the right direction at all?
Just because of your profession, you always find a silver lining in every cloud. I talked to you about communication. That was not a communication problem, the first. I learned from my buddy Mariucci, and this sounds weird, but I script the first 4 plays of every game. They do that in football, and I said, that sounds good. Why do you do it? Well, then people can't screw it up. If we're on a certain yard line, we're running this, this, and this, we practice it. So I've done that for 30 years. So the first play was scripted. The first 4 plays were scripted. I don't know, I'm going to take blame for most of it because I'm the coach, and nowadays you can't blame a player, or you can't. So I'm going to take blame, but I'm not taking blame for that one. It was just, and that's, Brian Gregory, my old assistant, used to have a saying, when it starts bad, a lot of times it ends bad. And it started bad, and give my team some credit that we bounced back, shot 50% the second half, this and that. But, for the first time, our crowd wasn't that into it. And my assistant said to me on the bench, boy, the crowd's kind of dead. I said, kind of dead? I said, we scored 9 points in the first 10. I said, you got to have something to cheer about. You got to have something to get excited about. I said, so our crowd bounced back. I felt bad for them because this was the Izzo's last game, and we owed them something because they've carried us the whole year. So, my players went back out there and spent some time with them, kissing the ass, because that's a tradition they started too. I wonder if everybody in the country knows that tradition, but it is a tradition. So our students from the Izzo go kiss the ass at the end of the game. So that part of it, I hope our players apologized and everything, because the fans have, another packed house, another great situation. It was really cool having the guy there for World War II. Judge Mathis was there. I tried to get him to put the officials in jail. He wouldn't do it. It was just not a good day for me.
Jordan Scott, second half, what did you like particularly about his production?
Well, until the very end, he guarded him the best, I thought. And let me tell you, that kid's really good, Thornton. And I think what happened is, with a guy out, I think he took over even more than he's been. And his team responded, his coach responded. They just let him go. They just gave it to him every time. And he can beat you going left, beat you going right, really beat you going right. He can beat you with a jump shot, but he's got a hell of a mid-range game. So he really played well. And I just think Jordan, I'm always assured that he's got some passion and some energy, and that is a treat right now. I always say, I don't want him to change, because sometimes the systems change you, and he's been really, really good at that.
Tom, just 9 points off the bench today. I'm curious how, moving forward, you will balance getting your players rest time versus getting the most out of your starters on the court.
Well, when Calder was out as long as he was, and then I did something I don't normally do. I put him back in, and, he got his third foul. So now, bring it on. Come on. You're one of those guys. Bring it on.
No, I was shocked that you put him back in the game.
But you know why? I listened to my media. You won. And we won. When he got that third foul, I was thinking of all you guys. I was thinking of all the fans. Interesting. So why you don't play guys like that is the officials, the calls, what's been going on. So, I am just kidding you. I'm not mad at you, but I hope, I'll let you write your articles, and you hopefully will let me coach my team, because he got that third foul, and I'm just saying to myself, what are you guys going to say? On the bench, I'm saying that. It was pretty cool.
Coach, with everything that happened in the game, the team still was resilient. What do you see from your team? How do you feel about your team, seeing especially how a lot of ranked teams lost over the weekend?
Yeah, I guess I was pleased with that. We found a way. We got up, 10? Was 10 the highest? 11, 10, 10. And then, we missed free throws and didn't guard then too. But, I bet you everybody knew that in the last three possessions that Thornton was going to take the ball and drive it, right? And we just didn't respond, And so, all kidding aside, I am disappointed in my team. But I got to be disappointed in myself, because somewhere I didn't get it through to them. When I say I thought we had great practices, what I say is the hardest thing to do is self-evaluate. Maybe I evaluated it wrong, because you couldn't have that many good practices and play like we did. You really couldn't. And it sounds like I'm taking too much away from Ohio State. I really not. I respect and admire the job they did. I'm a huge Thornton fan, just for all the reasons. But I can't, everybody, you win a couple games, everybody's telling your players what they are. There's a reality to this. This is the time of year you got to be getting better every game. Today we did not get better. So we're going to have to, I told them I'd have a team meeting tonight. I'd figure out some things. Tomorrow we're going to figure out some things. And it gets easier, though. We go to Purdue.
Did you expect a zone from Ohio State?
Yeah.
The whole game?
Yeah. Not the whole game, but what we expected was they were going to play about 50% zone. They played about 80. But they were down a guy, So, yeah, we did expect that. So that that had little to do with it. If you ask me, we missed some shots, we missed some layups, we took some bad shots, things that we don't normally do. We look like a team that played like we're going to win anyway, so we'll just do what we want to do, and that was the message at halftime. You know, you don't get to do that. So,
Your guys' I'm sorry. In the first half, 8 points in the paint. I know there's some outliers that might go along with that, like 7 turnovers in the first half as well. But what was the offensive game plan to try to establish points in the paint in the first half? Did
yeah,
Ohio
we were
State?
going into Jackson early, and the first play was going to him. The second play, we went to him with the same play, and he got a foul on the big guy right away. And then the third play, we got a foul on him too. So we did exactly what we wanted to do. And but I mean, we had weird lineups in there too. If there was something that hurt when we went zone, Cohen was struggling. We had to play Coop out of position, and because Jackson was out. So yeah, we didn't. It wasn't that we didn't know the zone was coming. We figured it was coming a lot, and I could care less if we got zoned. We got zoned a lot second half. We shot 50%. So it wasn't that. It was we just didn't do what we were supposed to do. And Jackson out of the lineup is a big thing right now. I mean, he's one of our guys that can score it, you know, and we didn't do that. So we couldn't expand it, couldn't get in gaps because everybody was just shrinking it. And then, you know, Cam struggled from the line, and so that, you know, that takes something away from him. And, you know, just the beauty of this to me is I watched UCLA come in here and get beat by 25-30 2 games in a row, be down 23 and come back and win against a really good team, you know. And that's what I think the problem is now, you know. And we fell into the same thing. I mean, not taking anything away from them, but this is one time you deserve to take something away from, but do it to me because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So do it to me because they weren't ready to play. When you throw the ball away the first play, you're not ready to play. It's just simple. Yes.
Jeremy had a lot of trouble getting inside the arc in the first half, so I guess what switched in the second half because he got a lot more paint touches in that second half?
Well, we settled a few screens. Like I said, our bigs were, you know, there were things they did, but there were things they didn't do. And one of them was setting some screens. And in the second half, we had Kohler in there some, so he spaces us out a little bit more. Other than that, I don't know. I'd have to watch the film, but. And Jeremy just did a little. I thought he was wasting a lot of time early. I didn't think he pushed the ball all day. That's what he's so good at. In fact, he's great at it.
Coach, season low 23 points in the first half, but then come back in the second half, make 50% of your shots. I'm just curious, what was that one thing that really opened up the offense in the second half?
It wasn't great coaching, I'll tell you that. It was, you know, players did a better job. We got, you know, even though I don't know if, I mean, Kohler hits 1-3 in that stretch, but he does get 10 rebounds, you know, and he only plays 16 minutes or something, you know. So, I mean, he's a big part, you know. He's a big part, and he's one of our more prolific scorers. And I think when he's out, it hurts Jeremy because everybody just swallowed it inside, and we didn't make some shots. Kerr had some good shots he missed, and just the way it was. Thank you, guys.